I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, let's get down to business, right? Thank you all for coming today. Moving directly to public announcements. The town clerk's office will be closed on Wednesday, January 11th from 9 to 2 p.m. for training. Please plan your business accordingly. The Hanson Water Department would like to notify residents that we will be doing some isolated flushing on Liberty Street Wednesday, January 11th, starting at 10 p.m. We anticipate that this may cause discolored water in the areas of High Street, County Road, and Liberty Street, but may affect the surrounding areas as well. Please contact the Water Department with any questions at 781-447-1200. Open burning season will begin January 15th and will run until April 30th. Permits are available now at Fire Headquarters at 505 Liberty Street, daily from 9 to 5 p.m. The cost of a permit is $20, payable by check or money order made out to the town of Hanson. No cash will be accepted. The next Hanson Business Network meeting will be held on January 19th from 5:30 to 7:30 p.m. in the Hanson Board of Selectmen meeting room. Laura Willis of Encore Revolution will conduct a 2-hour session for the HBM, for the Hanson Business Network, on branding your business. All are welcomed. This event is free, and you do not need to be a member to attend. Please contact Laura Fitzgerald Kemet at FITZ KEMMETT @gmail.com with any questions. The Hanson Business Network will be hosting a St. Patrick's Day themed night on March 17th. How appropriate, right? From 6 to 10 p.m. at the Needles Lodge in Camp Kewanee. A traditional boiled dinner complete with rolls or Irish bread, coffee, and dessert will be served. That sounds brilliant. We will have a full night of entertainment of your favorite Irish tunes, Irish step dances, St. Patrick's Day photo booth, fabulous silent auction, and raffle items. Proceeds from this event will benefit the Panther Education Trust and the Hanson PTO. Tickets are $20 per person. Please contact Laura Fitzgerald Kemet with any questions at LFITZKEMMETT @gmail.com. That sounds like a great time, doesn't it, Kim? I'm looking forward to that. Upcoming meetings. The final Plymouth County Hospital Reuse Committee meeting will meet on Wednesday, January 11th.
At the town hall, Jim.
At the town hall, 4 p.m.
4 p.m.
4 p.m. town hall.
It's upstairs in the meeting room.
Very good. It says on our agenda, police
I know,
station,
that's why I just changed
but
it.
it's going to be at the town hall, so yeah. The Historical Commission will meet on Wednesday, January 11th at 6 p.m. The Conservation Commission, Community Preservation, forgive me, will also meet on Wednesday, January 11th at 7 p.m. And then we also have another final Plymouth County Hospital reuse, Wednesday, January 18th, 4 p.m. at the police station,
Yep,
right?
yep.
And then we have a selectmen meeting on Tuesday, January 24th at 7 p.m. Another final Plymouth County Hospital Reuse Committee on Wednesday, January 25th at 7 p.m. Police Station.
Yes.
Selectmen's meetings on both February 7th and February 28th at 7 p.m. And that concludes the announcements for today. I would like to take a moment of silence for Thomas Pepe. If I mispronounce it, forgive me. Call firefighter for the town of Hanson for several years. Thank you. All right. If you wouldn't mind, I have a request. If we take out of our take a different order for our agenda, and I'd like to start with old business. Mr. Bob Hayes has a meeting with the Finance Commission today, Finance Committee today. So, Mr. Bob Hayes on an update of the statement of interest, the SOI on the McQuon Middle School. Hanson Middle School. Thanks, Bob. Please.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Again, thank you for taking me out of order. I have a meeting at 7:30 with the Finance Committee, the whole school committee. As you know, in conjunction with the Board of Selectmen, the school department had put in a statement of interest to the Mass School Building Authority for the replacement of the McQuon School only. At this time, the Mass School Building Assistance Program has passed over for the year of 2017, 2018, the funding to attempt to build a new school at the McQuon site. There are no prejudices. Someone has asked and put in, maybe we have passed over for the simple reason of we passed over it ourselves in a vote. There was no prejudice at all with that committee. There were other districts that have greater needs. We may want to think, and we probably, through the school committee, will be bringing, we have a school committee meeting tomorrow night, Jim?
Sure.
And the rest of the board, and we will be bringing to you some recommendations. We might want to think about a long-term goal for the McQuon School, such as replacing the heating system and fixing some of that stuff, because no matter what happens with MSBA, it's 5 to 6 years out minimally, and we've been putting a Band-Aid on a 100-stitch cut, so to speak, with the heating system. So if there was a catastrophic problem up there, we'd be having a real situation. So we maybe want to think about putting in an SOI, and again, I'll be bringing this back to you at greater depth, but it'll give you something to think about. Because MSBA does do accelerated projects such as windows, roofs, and heating systems. So we may want to put it into an accelerated repair project, because the McQuon School could be, it could be 10 or 15 or 20 years.
But it could be more eligible to get that heating system through the MSBA.
And that way, if anything does happen, we will have some sort of a fallback place where the MSBA may participate in the cost, rather than seeing the town bear the brunt of the whole cost of the heating system.
It's a good idea, Bill.
So what we're going to do is we're going to go through and do a more comprehensive study on what some of the immediate actions that may need to be taken in order to keep the school online and see what the future brings for McQuon.
Mr. Chairman,
Mr.
I just wanted to point out that echo your sentiments regarding the boiler, that those are the original, that's the original 1968 boilers in that school. Well, the Indian Head School was updated in the last major renovation, which was, I believe, was 1999, 2000.
I think you're right.
The
99.
boilers were updated at that time, and of course, we have the middle school, so that heating system is long due for replacement. There's major things to take place to those boilers every year.
Well, if you remember, Bruce, the last time we were there and they had the ends open to look through, it's like a big chamber.
Oh, yeah.
And it was all cracked, and we had re-bricked some of it and repointed some of the ends. I'm not sure the exact terminology. There was some asbestos linings that need to be done, but it's pretty extensive to what's going on. So we may want to take a look at that, just so, again, if that's the way the town wants to go, it seems to be a good partnership. We're working together and see if we can get some of the stuff taken care of.
Sure.
So we're gonna look at it a little bit more comprehensive. We'll bring you some ideas, and maybe we can put our heads together and see where we're gonna go with this. Because we have there is a time to, there is a date that we have, drop dead date that we have to submit it by.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I just wanted to correct one thing, if you don't mind. You made the statement that that was for the, to build a new school on the site of McQuon. It was actually to
Add on to.
It was actually to add on to the middle school to accommodate the preschoolers and
Right, it's a shelf McQuon.
kindergarten, and to shelve McQuon or possibly have it for a reuse for something else.
Exactly.
And to move second and third grade over to
Pre-K and 1,
pre-K and 1.
and 2 maybe.
Yeah.
It was all, Bruce, if you remember correct, there were 3 or 4 different things that you had to
You were
submit.
going to make this,
for them to look
move
at.
the 6th grade over to the middle. You
We were gonna
move-
have, well, no, we were gonna have grades 1 through 4 at Indian Head. We were gonna have grades 5 through 8 up at the middle school.
That was,
And then-
that was one of the
That was
thoughts.
one of the solutions.
There was a lot of stuff going on, but
Right.
at this time, it's been passed over, so it's,
Yep.
and they, in the letter they sent, they just passed over it for the simple reason of there were other towns with bigger needs and in worse shape, so. What's happened with the MSBA project that I can see just briefly is lots of towns didn't even probably know that it existed, and they've seen schools and they're getting more up on what's going on, so there's more submissions being put in to do those types of repairs or replacements. So you're finding that other districts are in worse shoes, so to speak.
Yeah, I remember one of the schools had a roof collapse, didn't they, Bob?
Yes.
Right, so, yeah, some of those are much more dire need than us. And when we had met with the MSBA folks, Diane Sullivan, was it?
Yes, Diane Sullivan.
And I forget the gentleman,
Chris,
both were very good and open and wanted to make it clear that the prior decisions of, as you indicated, had no impact or bearing on what was on their decision. It was strictly a need, based on need, so. Thank you. Are there any further questions to Mr. Hayes on this?
What's that date, the drop dead date?
I believe it's the end of February, the beginning of March, and it's right in the beginning of the year.
Okay.
Also, the McQuon bids for the little bit of the work that's gonna be done, that's gonna be all, well, be coming to you, and notifying you, Jim, to be back on the agenda about that. That's coming right up.
Okay.
So that's totally underway, so we'll be moving forward with that.
You'll let me know when we need to add it to the.
I definitely will.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bob. I'm grateful. We'll see you
Thank you.
tomorrow night.
All right,
All right, thank you.
thank you.
All right, so I'm going to move us back up into new business. The we have I'd like to entertain a motion to open the warrants for May annual and special town meetings with a due date of March 10th to have your articles submitted by, and a close of March 14th. Do I have that right, Mary?
So moved. Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Any questions from anybody? All right, all those in favor? Aye. Mary, you get those dates?
I did. The
All right,
warrant articles will be due to me by Friday, March 10th,
yes,
and will be closing on March 14th.
terrific. The next item we have on our agenda is to review the capital improvement plan. I think you'll see it as item
Item one.
1A? It's item 1A, excuse me, you're
Yep.
right, item 1 and 1A. So we have in front of us a capital improvement committee, 6-year plan and priority assignment, right? This is a Form D for fiscal year 2018. They've got 4 items that have been added to this 6-year plan. It is the highway building facility upgrade at a cost of $4 million. A key card access for town hall, oh, that's good for security, $50,000. And Mary, on the key card access for town hall, so is that just for, like, obviously the employees getting in behind the desks and so forth? Like, obviously, we're gonna have people coming in for public are still gonna need to get into the building, right?
Yeah, no, it's really so, off hours are in the morning.
Oh, okay, all right.
So
I thought it was
that,
like to go behind where, like, behind the desk, like, where Gene is.
No,
or-
this is just for access to the exterior doors, off hours, and
Oh, I gotcha, okay.
as opposed to keys,
As opposed to keys, gotcha, yeah.
One of the issues is, when we have people leave,
Yeah,
often
you
we've
got
got to
too many
rekey
keys.
things. This would just be a couple of keystrokes.
Yep,
So,
I get you, I
in addition to that, Mr. Chairman, it would allow us, a better audit trail as to who is coming and going at certain times. I mean, not really to eavesdrop or anything like that, but if something were to occur, it basically brings us into the 21st century in terms of, security at a minimum for the town hall.
that's right. I'm taking that security class, and you're absolutely right, that's a great thing, so.
And in addition to that, the keys that we would issue to the employees, we could also double them up as town employee IDs with, pictures on them.
Yep.
So we could kill 2 birds with 1 stone.
And that way, when a selectman is no longer a selectman, you can simply discontinue his card.
Yeah, or an employee, or,
Yeah, instead of hard keys.
yes.
Excellent idea, good. The next one we have, and that was for $50,000. The next one we have is for the Plymouth County Hospital property. That is for $10,000 for fiscal year 2018, another $10,000 for fiscal year 2019, and fiscal year 2020 at $10,000, right? Mike, could we have some more information on what that is?
You've been carrying that for a number of years. It's more of a contingency than anything.
Okay.
In case something comes up that would require the Board of Selectmen's immediate action, if there's some sort of development opportunity or even a matching figure that we needed to give to a grant. It's really contingency.
Okay.
And to the best of my knowledge, I don't think you've really used it in the last couple of years, but again, we wouldn't want to miss an opportunity for the lack of the $10,000 or less.
Okay, so this would be strictly for modify a project already in the program. So we may not even be spending anything.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm with you, okay. Then the final item, which I'm really excited about, I think everybody else would be too, is for fiscal year 2019 through fiscal year 2022, for each one of those years, so it'd be 19, 20, 21, and 22, $150,000 for sidewalks. No, but it's an improvement. It's a little bit at a time, Bruce. Bruce seemed to think that it wasn't too much to invest in, but it's moving forward, right? It's better than nothing. So I think that's terrific. Honestly, I do, folks. Are there any questions on this? Are we looking to put a vote on this, or was this just simply open for discussion and review?
Discussion and review, and if it's okay, we can approve it and submit it next week.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
So did you need a vote on this, Mary? Or
It's
Mike?
probably preferable, yeah.
So did you want to vote just on the revised items, or, and we have the entire plan just for our view, is that right, Mary?
Right, I have up there, it's revised because I made changes to it from what I put up on Friday.
Put it on Friday, okay, I'm with you. Okay,
So if everybody's okay with that, you can authorize Mike to go ahead and submit it to the capital
As-
improvement
as
committee. If there's something
presented.
else you want to add, we can add something
Would-
else to it if there are any projects.
Would any of those include Main Street
I
for
think
sidewalk?
the
No,
100,
why I'm asking is I've tried to start the process of putting Main Street on the TIP program from Bryanville all the way to the high school. It'd be Main Street all the way to Franklin Street, and Franklin Street all the way to the high school. So,
I don't
Yeah,
think
Main
they.
Street is part of that,
okay.
Yeah, it's sort of a loop from what I understand.
Well, I didn't want to see them put a sidewalk in if they were gonna retopple the road
On-
and change the elevations
For
at
the
all,
tip,
so,
yeah,
You know what I mean?
I
yes.
see what you're saying, yes.
We don't have any hard, dead, fast plans just yet, so,
No, I know, this is in the
yeah.
primary stages. Took me 6 years on the last one.
I'd like to make a motion
Yes.
to approve the Capital Improvement Committee 6-year plan.
Second,
Motion's been made in second to accept the changes and submit them to the Capital Improvement Committee from, as stated in the agenda. We're open for discussion. Any other questions on this? All right. Nothing else? Then all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
5-0, Mary. That's terrific. Okay, we'll move right along, I promise. What we'll do is we'll try to get to the Recreation Commission. I've got some minor items to move on this. The next, I'm looking for a motion to entertain a proclamation for April 28th, 2017 as Arbor Day.
so moved.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Open for discussion. Any questions? Are we planting a tree, Mike?
The reason I'm asking for this, I'm asking for it early because sometimes, as you're well aware, time escapes us. The notion here is so I can put in an application at some point to have the town of Hanson declared a tree city. What I plan on doing, and I believe I mentioned it at a past selectmen's meeting, we did have an offer from a citizen to donate a number of evergreens, basically Christmas trees, to be planted in various places, public places. So what I would, at this point, what I'm thinking is, once we figure out where we're going to put those, that those are the trees that we would plant on Arbor Day, and I could fill the forms out and have Hanson declared a tree city. It's just kind of another nice thing to do.
That's great, Mike. So more to come on this as we get
Yeah,
close to the time.
yeah, I may end up not being that, but being something else. I kind of hoped that I could use the fact that we had moved the tree over from the fire department to town hall, sort of as our event, but that was last calendar year, so we've got to move forward with something this year.
Okay.
Good one, then.
All right, if there's nothing further on this agenda, it's on the agenda under new business.
Oh, okay.
It's okay. All those in favor? Say aye. Aye. 5-0. No arguments there. Okay, the next item I have on our agenda is to approve the amendment to custodian of tax title property policy. You should see that as item 2 on your iPads. So for the land policy 3-2, we have under item 3, circulate property sale review package, 45 days. We wish to add the Historical Commission and the Community Preservation Committee. Those are the 2 items that we're adding, L and M on the, so select item 2. Why it's not in yours, brother? Here, let me try.
I don't see it,
Yeah, I don't know why. Item 2, that's it
Oh,
right
there it
there.
is, way down
Yep,
there.
you got it. Item 2. You got it, Kenny?
Yep.
So everybody's set with this? So that's pretty much it, right, Mary? There's nothing
Historical
further on this, just to add those 2 items.
That's good.
Yeah,
So,
Mr. Chairman, we had a request by both of those committees to, to be included in consideration when we circulate potential parcels for
Sale.
auction.
Yep.
And again, like with all the other committees and departments that we circulate the information to, it's merely an advisory role that these boards have, that the Board of Selectmen still has the final decision on whether to accept their input or to move forward as they see best. So it doesn't really handcuff the board, it's just to allow them to, add their opinions. It may
Okay.
be something that we missed that we weren't aware of.
I think it makes sense, especially the Historical Commission and the CPC, obviously. All right, any further questions on this? All right. I would entertain a motion to accept the changes to add the items L and M, the Historical Commission and the Community Preservation Committee, to the Land Policy 3-2.
So moved.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. 5-0. Terrific. All right. The next item we have on our agenda is to vote the acceptance of donations. You should see that as item 4 on your iPad. Item 4 on the left side. You guys got it? Donnie, you good?
Yep.
Okay. So we have a number of donations that we need to accept as selectmen. I'd like to read the donor. I think this is very kind of these people, and of course, this company. So on December 5th, 2016, the donor was Harold Norris for $50 to Elder Affairs. On December 21st, 2016, Ian McCollum for $200 for Elder Affairs. Also on December 21st, 2016, HG Donuts for $300 to the Elder Affairs. Yeah. December 28th, 2016, Miss Victoria Ferry Miller, one of my favorite people in town. An amount of $100 going to Elder Affairs. And on December 28th, Ferries Automotive, $100 to Elder Affairs. And finally, on December 29th, 2016, National Grid, $1,200 landscape gift account. It says 12,000, it's just a typo on our agenda, okay? It's an amount actually of $1,200. So I would look to entertain a motion to accept these donations as read.
So moved.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Further discussion? Anybody? All right, all those in favor? Aye? 5-0. Terrific. Okay, we're moving now to the appointments for the Recreation Commission. Okay, so we have 13 members who have applied for the Recreation Commission, and I would like to read off their names. And what we'd like to do is, I'm just going to ask them if they maybe stand up and give us a brief, just give us a brief overview of their strengths and what they feel they can bring to the job. We have, because we've got so many folks, it would probably not be in a good time interest to read many of the qualifications. So if you recall the qualifications that you wrote down on your application, that's really all you need to say. Just stand up and introduce yourself, I would ask. All right? So again, we've got 13 people, and I'm going to explain the process. We've been giving a list of names, the 13 names on here. We also have underneath that the terms to expire from the people who had previously resigned. Okay? So what we need to do is we need to choose 7 people tonight, and then after we make that choice, we're going to assign to them which terms that they're to fill out to expire. All right? Now, logically, it doesn't have to be this way, but logically, it would probably work to the benefit of whomever gets the most votes would probably get the longer term, and whoever gets the least votes would probably get the less term. The less term being June 30 to expire is June 30th, 2017, and the longest term is June 30th, 2019. And as you can see at the top of this page, I don't know if Carol's getting this, but you've got Mr. Howard, Mr. McGann, so I'll put my marks in here, Mr. Mitchell, Mr. Scott, and Mr. Young. Okay? Are there any questions from anybody? So what we'll do is we'll call this vote, and then we'll call a 5-minute recess. We'll allow Mary to do the tallies and so forth, come back, and allow her to read who the 7 folks are, okay? And from those 7 folks, we'll determine, and the numbers that they have, we'll determine which gets what for the term. Am I making sense? I hope I am, right?
It's the
Okay.
fairest way to do it.
I think it's the fairest way, right? Okay, cool. Everybody's good, wow, all right. Donnie, you good?
Yep.
All right. Mr. Young, did you want to read something? Are you good?
Well, at some point, I'd like to read the responsibilities of the commission, just into the record.
Okay.
Well, we're gonna be updating the policy,
No, these are the,
the one existing one?
Yeah, no, he's
Gotcha.
just going to
You want me to do it now?
Sure, why don't you do it before we choose?
Okay, this is from the article that established the present Recreation Commission back in 1990. It shall be the duty of this commission and each of its members to oversee the total operation of Camp Kawani and Cranberry Cove and other recreational activities deemed proper, including but not limited to the setting of priorities, the hiring and termination of employment of necessary personnel, the handling of and the accounting of funds entrusted to their care, the maintenance of facilities, the planning of future operations, and all other duties that normally fall within these responsibilities. All activities shall be directed to the best interest of the residents of Hanson only. Members shall annually choose a chairman, secretary, and financial secretary from their membership. That was in June 4th, 1990, and there's been no amendments to that since.
So the way we see this too is that these 7 members, since we've had a bit of a change with Mike when you were out sick, I apologize for mentioning Mike, they would also hire the director position. Okay? So they've certainly got their work cut out for them, these members. Mr. Reggio?
115 South Street. Town Administrator Act, I still question that. That changed 1990, I think, with the hiring and recreation. That's my question. That answers.
What are you questioning?
Town Administrator Act, he's the person who hires and fires.
No, he doesn't hire anybody. Who told you that?
It's in the town administrator
He does
personnel.
not hire anybody.
Mr. Young.
He doesn't hire a soul.
I'm not looking for an argument, I'd like you to investigate it, that's all.
I'm just telling you, I can tell you right off the top of my head. The town administrator, okay, posts any positions that are open in the town of Hanson, okay? And then he takes applications, okay, and then he interviews the candidates for those positions. But the relevant body is responsible for the hiring and the firing of the individuals that work under them, under the Town Administrator Act, okay? That is the way the Town Administrator Act reads. It's open and shut, there is no debate about it.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I would like to hear that from town council.
Oh, jeez,
Okay.
I mean, that's my request.
this is insanity.
Mr. Young,
This is crazy.
Mr. Young, please, let's keep ourselves in order, okay?
But for God's sakes,
It's
this
just,
is the way it
Bruce,
happens.
it's just a
I know
question.
people enjoy hearing from me, but this is not the way it works.
it's
I
just,
don't need town council, but to be able to read what the Town Administrator Act says. I've read it a dozen times, and I know what it says.
I understand. I think it's a fair question, and it's just a question.
It's a fair question, but the answer is known by everyone. Even the Town Administrator knows what it is.
Okay.
Okay?
I'm of the opinion that despite the fact that Mr. Young may be correct, from what I understand,
It's no maybe about it. I am correct.
Bruce, I think it's
There's no
fine.
maybe about it.
Bruce, I'm asking.
Mary, can you call up the Town Administrator Act on there?
You can right there on yours if you need to, but right now.
Because I am paralyzed here, I can't use this
Yeah.
computer.
There's
So I'm
no,
writing
there should
stuff
be no
down.
debate about this. There
Bruce.
is no debate on who hires the recreation
Bruce,
director.
I've given a lot of leeway here, okay? No more. No more interruptions, please.
I'm just telling you.
I am not, Mr. Young, I'm gonna gavel you out if you don't please stop. I'm asking you to please, no more. Rich, I understand your question. I understand it, that's fine. I think it's just a question. I'm of the opinion, Mr. McHugh, Mike, maybe you could look into this, and maybe at the next meeting, say something, if you could just
He
confirm.
already knows. Ask him.
It's my interpretation, yes.
Okay, cool.
However, that being said, whatever the board's pleasure is, that's,
Yep.
I'm here to carry out the board's pleasure. If it wishes me to ask the question, I certainly will, but I would leave that up to the board if it wishes me to
Okay,
go and seek that information from town council.
okay. Rich, we'll get back to you.
That's
on
fine.
this, Okay?
There's questions up and look for an answer.
I understand.
Mr. Chairman.
You can.
Somebody else with a question? Anybody else?
I have a comment.
Mr. Young.
You're free to call up the Town Administrator Act online, Google Hanson Town Administrator Act. Call it up and read who does the hiring. Okay? It's the relevant body
Okay,
for whom that person works for, which is not the Town Administrator. He only recommends hiring and firing to the relevant body.
okay.
Amen.
All right, so, let's call to vote. Gentlemen, I would ask you to take out your voting, your sheets. You have them? Donnie, you got it? And mark your choice. Pardon?
Can I interview him first?
Oh, I'm sorry, I apologize, yeah, I got thrown. So I'm gonna read your name in alphabetical order. Ms. Sandra Allen, I think she sent an email, Mary, saying she couldn't make it tonight?
Right, I just want to make sure she didn't show up.
She said she might, but I think she had to work, so.
Yes.
So she had sent us an apology stating that, saying she had to work tonight. It was unfortunate, but moving on. This is Anne Marie, who's on. Anne Marie.
Hi, I'm Marie Buzan. I live at 95 Woodrush Lane. I started my career off at Camp Kawani for the town of Hanson. Completely enjoyed the place. It was a great place for young and old, for everyone to get together. I wrote grants for the camp. I put together Halloween parties for the camp. I organized fundraisers for the camp. And I just saw all the potential for the camp. And I really want to just give back a little from what it gave to me. So I'd appreciate your vote tonight. Thanks so much.
Thank you. I apologize. So since Ms. Sandra Allen couldn't be there, why don't I read? She says, I'm a lifelong resident and have enjoyed various activities and events at Camp Kawani. I have also maintained a family pass at Cranberry Cove every year. My family spends a lot of time hiking and camping. I'm active in Boy Scouts with my son as well. I may be helpful and with from a consumer and utilizer perspective. And all right, so that takes care of Anne Marie, and that takes care of Ms. Sandra Allen. And the next one we have is Mr. Kevin Cameron. Mr. Cameron.
Kevin Cameron, 205 Partridge Way. I have been involved at Camp Kawani since 1968, I believe. Learned to swim there, and my son had his wedding there most recently, quite a lot function I attended there a couple of years back. I was on the rec commission previously, resigned a couple of years ago due to work commitments. I have a background in hospitality management, worked in hospitality management for over 25 years, and I have a background as well in facilities management, which I think both come in handy at the operations up there. I have been a lifeguard there. I taught people to swim there, learned to swim there myself. So I think I see the benefits. I do think that there has to be balance between recreation and revenue, and I think I can bring both to that facility. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Cameron. Next we have is Teresa Cosio. Is that how you pronounce it, Teresa? Is she here?
She's working with the Board of Health, and they have a meeting
Oh,
tonight,
they have a
so she
meeting
wasn't able
tonight?
to come
Okay.
down.
So why don't I read what she has placed here on her qualifications. As a mother of young children, the potential, I'm having difficulty, I'm sorry. The potential I see per Hanson's youth and Hanson facilities to have the opportunity for more use of such a wonderful place. We could make it stronger and a stronger sense of community. Okay. Next one we have is Diane Cohen. Diane, are you here? Hi, Ms. Cohen.
I'm Diane. I have only lived in Hanson, unlike the rest of you, it seems, for about 18 months. But one of the prime reasons that I did was because of Camp Kawani. My son has taken swimming lessons there for about 5 years, and I basically fell in love with the place, and it is uniquely Hanson, as I have found out. I am a teacher, a special needs teacher in the town of Weymouth, which is where I used to live, and I was hoping to bring a little collaboration and cooperation into the Recreation Commission, and I am on the Health and Safety Committee of my town in Weymouth, where I work as a teacher, like I said, and best of all, I have summers off. So, I'll be there. Anyway.
Thank you very much. That's great to see somebody only 18 months in the town. Next one we have is Wilbur Danner. Wilbur, are you here tonight?
Wilbur's right there.
Mr. Danner.
I think everyone knows me. I've been in town for many, many years. I worked at Camp Kawani when I was 46, 47, 48. With Mrs. Smith when they first ran it as a helper in maintenance of a contract there. I served in the school committee at both levels, Hanson and Whitman, for 15 years, the Board of Assessors for 11 years. I watched this thing unfold. I own a few restaurants. My background is financial. I was controller, I worked at Caterpillar Tractor. I also ended up, before I went into the restaurant business, as the controller for John Donnelly Advertising Company with the billboard people in Boston. So we covered Maine to Florida. I'm in a retirement mode. I have the time to devote to the thing, and I think that this piece of property there should be an income property to the town and not a liability. It should be, and it should be advertised that way. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Next, we have Audrey Flanagan. Audrey, you here? Audrey Flanagan is not here tonight, okay. She has sent an attached letter I'm gonna read because I think it's, again, we're trying to be as fair as we can. She said, please find attached my application resume. This will be my third request in 2016 to rejoin the board. I respect your decision to have appointed 2 new faces at Camp Kawani. I don't think we did so at that time, so this letter is dated 2014. With all 7 seats open at this time, I hope you will consider me for a position. Given the recent events at the camp, I do feel that someone with history and intimate knowledge of Camp Kawani will add value at this time, not only for the camp, but for the Recreation Commission as well. I feel it's important to bring more recreation to the town. I was a driving force behind the family camping weekend this past June, and we've had more of these events pre-booked on the calendar for 2017 and 18. This weekend not only brought recreation to the town, it also reintroduced camping to Kawani. She has more than 12 years' experience on the Recreation Commission Board, as well as volunteering in plays, cleaning up weekends, recreation building cots, cleaning and repairing cabins, and mostly recently renovation to the cottage. Okay, so that talks about their qualifications. Next we have on there is the Mr. Brian Patrick Frizzetti. Mr. Frizzetti.
Brian Frizzetti, 370 Elm Street, Hanson. I'm much like the last gentleman. I'm more of a policies, procedures, and financial kind of guy. I have 25 years plus experience in business. I think that the camp itself can not only generate some money, but and pull people in the town themselves, you know, go swimming and whatnot. I can admittedly say I didn't take swimming lessons at the camp, but doesn't mean I don't care. I've been in town since 1975, and I kind of, with what's been going on, I'd like to see we can come together and help the camp move forward.
Thank you, Brian. Okay. I should also state too, Brian, you've also filed a disclosure form as your son is working there, which I think that's terrific that you filed the disclosure form itself. It's required by the, I think for the conflict of interest laws. It looks like, okay, next I have on our, hold on, is Miss Rachel Gross. Miss Gross, you here? Hi, Rachel.
My name is Rachel, as you said, and I currently own and operate an event and marketing company. We started about 8 years ago. I have a staff. We focused in weddings in the beginning, and slowly we've evolved into working with communities. So we've had extensive experience with multiple different types of venues for social events and corporate events, as well as other types of rented spaces for events. But with communities, we work with Kendall Square, Union Point, formerly Southfield, running their food truck rodeos, their farmers markets, as well as other recreational events. With that, you know, it's been a nice balance between the recreational activities that don't always generate as much of an income, as well as the income generating activities such as weddings and corporate events. We also work with small businesses in PR and marketing, and I feel like that background, actually all of that background would be really helpful in where the camp is finding itself right now. I think there's a lot of branding that needs to be done, as well as restructuring within. So I think it would be a really exciting project to be a part of.
Thank you. Appreciate this. Okay, next we have Mr. John Patrick Mahoney. Mr. Mahoney.
John Mahoney, 96 Main Street. I've been living in Hanson for 24 years now. My son was brand new when we moved in. He grew up Cranberry Cove pretty much. All my kids learned how to swim there. Sean was a lifeguard for 3 years. I've been involved with the camp, well, Cranberry Cove and then from beyond. The kids were involved in Hanson drama from middle school and have done plays up there, as have I. I've also helped repair some of the things that have been broken at Camp Kawani over the years. We helped clean it up. Built some bunk beds for the cabins as well. I've been involved in Camp Kawani for 24 years. I think it's a tremendous resource for recreation for the town, and I would like to make sure that keeps going up.
Thank you, Ms. Mahoney. Next, we have Mr. Brian E. Smith. Brian, you with us?
Hi, my name is Brian E. Smith. I'm Brian Smith. I'm 38 Sandy Terrace. I'm a 25-year town resident. Two daughters swim at Camp Kawani. I'm a facility supervisor for Eversource, Southeastern Mass, Cape Cod, and Islands. And I feel I can bring best maintenance practices along with short and long-term planning into the camp to preserve it for future generations.
Thank you. Mr. Smith, I appreciate this. Next, we have Donna Tramontana. Is she with us? I have a note here. I would read her qualifications. I would bring my knowledge and certifications required to be a health agent, for example, food protection, septic certification, camp inspector, etc. I'm extremely organized and believe in checks and balances. That's what she has written on her application. And last but not least, Mr. John Joseph Zucco.
Hi, I'm John Zucco from 111 Glenwood Place in Hanson. I've been a resident since 1999. I'm very active in the special events industry. I work for a company called Entertainment Specialists, which is actually based in Hanson with offices in Boston. I've served on the board of the New England chapter of the National Association for Catering Events since 1998. My specialties would be more on the artistic end, generating more money for weddings, getting weddings in there, elevating the quality of the weddings, or any corporate events that come in, making it a nice income-generating property, but also making sure that Hanson residents have special privileges in the camp for doing things that outside residents wouldn't have. We would have to make a nice exclusive thing for Hanson residents as well.
Thank you. All right, does any of the board members have any questions? Yeah, nice try. Okay. Bruce gave me the look like he was going to. That's why he was trying to throw some fear into me. I actually have heard a lot from people coming up to me, and they actually did say much of what you had just said, Mr. Zucco, that many of the people are looking for about, they want more community events being held up there. They would really like, I mean, obviously we'd like to see some income generated too as well, but I think that's something that's needed. It actually brings the community together. We all know that, right? We all know these things, so. Okay, enough. Let's bring it to vote. Any other steps, any other questions, any other comments? All right, we'll mark our papers, we'll call a 5-minute recess, and we'll re-adjourn, and we'll have Mary tally up the counts, okay? It's on. I'm going to call the meeting back to order. Let's wait till we get all, before we move on to the final counts on the votes, I want to make sure, I know it sounds rehearsed, but I want to say thank you to these folks who stepped up and volunteered. Everyone deserves credit for stepping up on it, okay? There's been a lot of controversy. There's been a lot of controversy, a lot of news on this issue, and frankly, I thought it was going to drive more people away, but we've brought in a good group, I think, and looking forward to moving on for this year, okay? So thank you all again for applying, and Mary, we're ready when you are.
All right, so the top vote getter with 5 votes was Brian Frigetti. 4 votes for Sandra Allen. 4 votes for Rachel Gross. 4 votes for Brian Smith. 4 votes for John Zuko. 3 votes for Anne-Marie Buzan, and 3 votes for Diane Cohen. The remaining people received 2 and 1 votes, so that would be a full complement of 7 members for the committee.
Okay, so if I'm to read them, Sandra Allen, Diane Marie Cohen, Brian Frizzetti, Rachel Gross, Brian Smith, John Zuko, and Anne-Marie Buzan. And now we have to apply the terms that
Right.
we have, is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
So Mary, the first term that we've had on this was for, actually, there was 3 length terms, right? 3-year terms, is that correct? For June?
They're all, right, they're all, once they're in, it'll be a 3-year term, but they have to be staggered because we're starting right from scratch. So the first, there are 2 positions for a short term, which will end on June 30th, 2017, this year. So those people would have to be reappointed.
Yep.
And then there are 2 positions with the terms that would expire on June 30th, 2018.
Mhm.
And then there are 3 positions for June 30th, 2019.
So why don't we start with the 2019? We have actually 4 people. Well, Mr. Frizzetti had 5 votes, so he had the most votes, is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
So would I be correct in saying that he would be one to have the June 30th, 2019?
Mm-hmm, okay.
Would this board be acceptable to that?
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Brian Frizzetti, his term is for June 30th, 2019. All right, next one we have is, we actually have 4, Rachel Gross, Brian Smith, and John Zuko. So we've got a 3-way tie for only 2 remaining positions on the 19th.
Actually, we have 4 people who had 4 votes.
Oh, 4?
Allen.
Oh, I'm sorry, yeah, right, Sandra
Sandra
Allen.
Allen,
That's
Rachel
right.
Gross,
1,
Brian
2, 3,
Smith, and
4.
John Zuko.
So we've got 2 positions for June 30, 2019.
Fill 'em. They'll just have to reapply when their
Right.
commission expires.
Right. Should we ask them? Are they here with it? Well, Sandra Allen isn't here, so I don't think we're gonna know. But we have Rachel, Brian
Does
Smith.
anybody have a preference for a smaller term?
Right.
A year? You can always reapply and the board would reappoint you.
What we would probably do is give you June 30, 2018. So one of these people, either Rachel, Brian Smith, or John would go for a year of June 30, 2018 as opposed to June 30, 2019.
I'll do the 2018.
You'll take it, John?
Yeah.
Thank you. So if we place John Zuko at the June 30th, 2018, that would apply, I would propose Mr. Brian Smith and Miss Rachel Gross to be for the June 30th, 2019.
Because they're here.
Right.
And then Sandra can go on the 18th.
And then Sandra can go on the June 30th, 2018.
All right.
Does that make sense? Does anybody have any question on that?
And then you got 2.
Then Anne Marie and Diane would be for this year.
And then Emery, right, they fill it up automatically. Emery and Diane
We'll go to June 30th.
will be June 30th, 2017. And we have John Zuko, Sandra Allen for June 30th, 2018. We have Brian Frizzetti, right? We have Rachel Gross and Mr. Brian Smith for June 30th, 2019. Make sense? Are there any questions on this?
I have a question. When's the first meeting?
Oh, yeah. Just to hold.
You guys will probably, Mary will give you your contact information so that you folks can contact each other, set up a time to meet. And I imagine you're gonna have to pick your officers, your chairman, your vice chair, your secretary taking notes, okay?
Mr. Chairman?
You have to get sworn in too at the town clerk's office.
But
They
the
do
board
have-
should vote to make the appointments.
Right now.
these.
Yes.
Yes. So I apologize because I think somebody had asked me earlier too about being sworn in. I think it was you, Mr. Frizzetti, and I was mistaken. So you will have to be sworn in, just not tonight. But we'll make, when our appointment will suffice you in, okay? You guys-
Right, everyone will receive a letter from me. After the meeting's over, I'll send a letter. A letter will go to the town clerk's office. She'll be notified of your appointments and your expiration dates, and then you can go, once you get the letter from me, you can stop by the town clerk's office. And,
And she'll swear you in.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes?
One of the first orders of business should be to assign a member, to vote to assign a member to sit with the town administrator for the, and review the applications and go through the application process and the interview process for the first recreation director. To make recommendations to the full Recreation Commission for the hiring of a town recreation director.
I think, obviously, if you have your first meeting, folks, when you decide, if you could contact maybe Mike, I'm sure Mike might want to be there, I don't know, Mike, what do you
Yeah,
think?
Mr. Chairman, what I was going to offer to the new members,
you want to set up the meeting?
yeah, that I would actually, when I get the information that you've all been sworn in, I'll contact each one of you, and I'll work with you to set up your first meeting. I'll go to your first meeting. I'm not sure if many or any of you have, and it's not a knock, but, you know, how to run a meeting, so I can even go over those sorts of basics with you, guide you through whatever you need to be guided through, and certainly be available for anything going further, but I'll get a hold of all the information, and I'll arrange it all, you know, with you guys.
Okay. So, I would entertain a motion to accept the 7 board member for the Recreation Commission as was previously read, and in turn also removing Mike McHugh as interim Recreation Commissioner, right?
Sorry, Mike.
I'll get over it.
So I would, looking for a motion on that.
So
moved. Second.
Made and seconded. Discussion. Any
Where do they get a copy of the policies and procedures so they can start reading it?
Mike will have something, but we have a question. Could you stand up, Laura?
Yeah, I just thought you may want to.
Laura Kemet.
Make that movement contingent upon them all getting sworn in, so that you're not in some weird.
Oh,
Yeah.
you should be signed in first before they meet, obviously. Is that what you're
Well,
saying?
you don't want to remove him until they've all been appointed.
Oh, but sworn in.
Well, I don't know, maybe he wants to remove.
Right, yeah. It'll all be based on the fact when you get signed in, obviously, so. Congratulations, folks, and again, thank you all for stepping up. Look forward to working with you and seeing a lot of progress up there in our town. Thank you very much for stepping up on great, honestly. Anything further? Any comments from this board? Any members?
Yeah, I would recommend that Mary put together a packet for them that not only includes the duties and responsibilities that I read, but also the job description for the new recreation director, and also the job descriptions for the administrative assistant as well.
Sure. I think that's acceptable. I think that's something that they'd probably do anyways, because they all seem like very smart people.
Okay.
Any questions? Any other comments? Again, thank you all.
Did we vote?
Okay,
No,
we-
we
yeah,
didn't vote.
we got a motion and second vote. Let's put it to vote. All those in favor of accepting the 7 members as voted upon from tonight's meeting, say aye. Aye?
Aye.
Those against? 1 against. 4-1-0.
No. I voted for it.
Yeah, I know. Bruce voted against it.
Oh, okay. I didn't look. I'm
It's okay.
sorry.
It's all right.
I don't
You don't
look.
have to, you don't
I
have to.
look. I don't look when I
Get your back
Don't
on.
sweat it, brother. Don't sweat it, please. Congratulations, folks.
Thank you.
We have a relatively easy appointment, the 200th Anniversary Committee, Mr. Joshua Singer at 263 Main Street. Mr. Singer, are you here tonight? Mr. Singer, thank you very much. Would you stand up and could you just tell us a little bit about yourself, maybe?
Where is that one, Jim?
Please. That should be item 5A.
Josh Singer. I live on Main Street. Thank you. Yeah, I was just, actually the opportunity came up. They ran it by Hanson Business Network, looking for some volunteers to help out with the 200th anniversary for Hanson. Thought it was a good way to give back to the community. I'm involved in Kiwanis, involved in the Hanson Business Network. I'm always just looking for ways to give back. Figured Hanson's 200th birthday was a good way to do so. I have plenty of experience. I've had a birthday every single year, so I know exactly what that entails.
What to experience. Thank you very much, Mr. Singer. All right, and thank you for stepping up. All right, would entertain a motion to accept Mr. Joshua Singer to the Hanson 200th Anniversary Committee. I'd entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded.
Mr. Young would it be?
We'll give it to Mr. Young on this one. Discussion. Any questions for me? All right, all those in favor? I'm sorry, you had a question, somebody?
You can vote him in.
Okay. All right, all those in favor? Aye, 5-0. Congratulations, Josh. Welcome to the club. Did somebody have a question?
I did. I was just curious.
I'm sorry,
about-
could you just stand up and say your
sorry.
name? No worries.
I'm Rachel Gross, and I was questioning of the committee. I wasn't sure if you needed more people or more volunteers, because
I
I'd
think
like
they,
to.
I think they
How
can.
many
Yeah.
members do we have?
3, 4 now?
No, at this point,
appointed
did you appoint anyone in my absence? No, that's your first appointee.
I thought there was another one. I could have sworn there was 2 or 3 others.
You're the committee? I'll help you.
What I had done, Mr. Chairman, is I'd reached out to the Historic Commission, as well as the Business Network, to let them know that when the Board of Selectmen had created this committee, that they had reserved or wanted members from those particular groups. And the fact that Mr. Singer came before us at this point is, it basically goes to the point that I need to make sure that the people that they have identified, the people that they have spoken to in those different committees, fill out the form. So you've done exactly what you needed to do, and I'm going to go back and make sure that those committees know that not only do they need to speak with me and have the conversation with me, they also need to, as with anyone wishing to be appointed on any board, they need to fill this form out, so. And we also need to, in the not-too-distant future, there's a selectman representative that needs to be appointed as well. So what I will do prior to next week's meeting is, like I said, I'll reach out to those 2 groups and ask them to have their interested members fill out the appropriate paperwork, and hopefully we can move forward. Yeah.
I know from memory that we did place some of the members of the board. I could have sworn, wasn't Alan Clemens on one? I thought, yeah, I know.
He should be on our.
No,
He's a town historian.
it was certainly was the discussion and the suggestion of the board that he be appointed as well, but as far as any official action by the board, I believe this is the first one. But to answer your question, there are 1 or 2, if not 3, members at large positions as well that you're certainly welcome to apply for.
And I know that you're on that position, yeah. I'm glad you came in, thank you very much. I'm not trying to take away from it, but we don't have our facts yet clearly on what that number was. I think it was it 7 members, Mike?
I believe it's 9.
Was it 9?
Yeah.
So I think there's more than enough room. So, Ms. Gross, if you're interested, absolutely throw in an application, please, okay? And thank you again. All right, moving on to the next item on our agenda is the Records Access Officer for the library, Ms. Karen Stoffler. I believe that's a position that's necessary for each department that we're trying to do, is that correct?
Right, originally we had appointed Nancy to it, so Karen has taken over in Nancy's stead, so we need to appoint Karen.
Okay. So I would entertain a motion to accept Ms. Karen Stoffler as the Records Access Officer for the library.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. 5-0, Mary. Okay, next is a fun request. And I'd like to read it. This is for the Hanson Girl Scouts request to use the town hall parking area for their cookie drive, February 11th and February 12th. I'm going to read from Ms. Lindsay Grasso, I'm writing today on behalf of the Girl Scout Troop number 65436. We would like permission to have a drive-up cookie booth at the Hanson Town Hall. We're hoping to set up a table under the overhang in the lower entry. That'll protect them from the weather, right? And we do not need access to the building. This is strictly outside. A few girls will be holding signs near the road for advertising. If possible, we would like February 11th and the 12th from 12 to 4 p.m. And she listed a number here for if any questions to give her a call. So I would entertain a motion to allow the Hanson Girl Scouts to use the town hall parking area to set up their cookie booth underneath the overhang there for February 11th and 12th.
No move.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Discussion? Do we, just one thing, do we have to worry about, like, police or something like that, with people pulling out? It shouldn't matter, right?
No.
You'd be thrilled if you needed a police officer.
Yeah, I know.
I think, Mr. Chairman, the original intention was for this group to use the lot over at the mill, which I think could have necessitated, because of the layout there, the police detail. I think this is a much safer, easier accessed location, so I wouldn't anticipate the need. We certainly can, we can ask the police chief his thoughts on it, just to make sure, but I wouldn't anticipate it.
Okay. All right, so a motion has been made and seconded. Further discussion, any questions? All those in favor, say aye. Aye. 5-0. How could you say no? Okay, the next item I have on our agenda is old business. This is the town possession properties of Lakeside Road and Brook Street. This is a discussion that we've held off on twice. A couple times, I think it was my issue for not inviting you, Mr. Chairman Phil Clements. Not right, Phil? Folks, if you're welcome to stay or leave, it's up to you. I think obviously you may know that, but just wanted to put that out there to you. Not that this next guy speaking is a great talker, so please stay, okay? Yeah.
So, I'm Phil Clements, I chair the Conservation Commission, and it's terrific to have a lot of communication between boards and everything. And I'll just say that on behalf of the commission, we're very pleased that the town now has a process for a thorough review or discussion of how to manage or what to do with tax title properties as they come along, whatever's in the best interest of the town as a whole. And what I'm here to do tonight is just to assure that our part of the process is complete, and that we clear up any misunderstanding or confusion. Again, we thank you for the opportunity to comment. Back in October, the Conservation Commission had a list of all these things, these properties, and we looked at it, and we had a vote, and I believe our agent sent an email to, probably to the selection office, indicating there were 2 parcels that we thought had value from a conservation standpoint. I'm not sure where the confusion came from. Lakeside Road was not one of those, but rather Brook Street and Pond Street. On Brook Street, it's parcel, map 105, parcel 7, and it had an address of 0 Brook Street. This is nothing on it. The other parcel was map 70, lot 37 on McQuon Street, 308 McQuon Street. So that's where our comments were directed. It's not that we don't care about Lakeside Drive, but we did not see enough value in the details to do anything other than probably sell the pros.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, Phil, if you don't mind, can you go behind the dais so that they can pick you up on cable so people at home?
Oh, I'm sorry about that, yeah. Cool.
Give me a place to put my
So these are, so these are items on your iPads, item 3, 3A, and 3B, guys. So Brook Street is the,
The information I have is map 105, parcel 7, which is 1.9 acres. That's of high interest to conservation, and would recommend not selling that.
Okay.
And for completeness, the other parcel that we recommend keeping is map 70, lot 37, 308 McQuon Street. That's 18,100 square feet. We'd recommend retaining that
Okay.
and not selling that.
And Lakeside Drive? conservation
Lakeside Drive,
section?
we have no comments other than, do what makes sense. I know the planning board made recommendations as well, and I think they recommended selling those.
So why is conservation interested in McQuon?
McQuon Street, it's a fascinating property. It's very small, less than half an acre. Most of us know that it's right on Route 14, and lapping up against the other side of it is McQuon Pond, which is the cleanest body of surface water we have in the whole town. The other end of the lake is Cranberry Cove. The entire property is within the buffer zone, most of the 50 and 100-foot buffer zones that are subject to the Wetlands Protection Act. That's the sort of property for which buffer zones were created by the Wetlands Protection Act. The soil is sandy, very permeable, and we would very much not like to see anything put there or put back there like in the past where there was either a septic system or something like that, things that could impact the water quality of the pond. We think that it would be the town would be well served if we kept the shoreline in natural vegetation or restored the natural vegetation and kept it as a natural area to protect the shore of the pond and the water quality, perhaps to be available for stormwater treatment, which again would be better than having the water run right into the pond. But we wouldn't want to see that encumbered with a septic system or anything else that would impact water quality. It's very small. Again, anything that's done there would have to come before conservation because it's within the buffer zone of the pond. It's just very small.
Mr. Chairman, we, and not to interrupt Phil, but, and I'm not sure where wires get crossed on this, but the board voted not to put that particular piece of property out. So that piece of property is not.
That's good.
Good.
Is not in question, Phil.
Full agreement. I just wanted to make sure there was no
The board in and of
misunderstanding.
itself recognized that.
That's the old Wilkie property, isn't it?
Right.
Correct. That's, it's,
McQuon Pond.
yeah.
Yeah,
We could
that's.
go on about the history of that, but we won't.
on, yeah.
So
off
so
the
no,
list.
that's good. I
Yeah.
think we needed conservation here to speak to.
Right, so that's,
But
That's
thank you,
fine, I
Mark.
don't want to make sure you knew that
We
the
didn't
board
put
in
it
and of
up.
itself recognized that.
right, I think the
and it's not.
conversations leading up to this, we didn't have the advantage of documents in front of us, so if there was any confusion, that's probably the reason why.
Okay.
But tonight, we're just eliminating all that.
And why, and what's on Brook?
Brook Street, again, another very interesting piece of property at 1.9 acres. Again, because of the narrow shape of it, it has frontage along Brook Street, but also a long boundary on Indian Head Brook itself. This is downstream from Brook Street, and again, virtually 90 to 100% of their property is within jurisdiction of the Wetlands Protection Act under the buffer zone. It's a narrow piece of property. There's approximately 400 or a little more feet of shoreline along the brook. That brook, and that portion of the brook, it has a surprisingly high water quality because almost all the water in it is groundwater that comes out from the hills. Upstream from that is spring water, basically. Because of that, it's documented by the State Department of Fish and Game as a cold water fishery. Native brook trout live there. That's rare. These fish are very sensitive to like the canaries in the mine. And we're very fortunate to have at least a little tiny piece of the remnant of that product, that habitat here. So it's got very high public value. We would like to never see, again, like with the pond, anything constructed there that would impact that water quality. If it was in private hands, who knows what would be proposed. And of course, it would have to come before conservation. But it would be very much more efficient and in the public interest to not have those things, ideas even come up. What I think we should do is retain it as public property, maybe someday make it conservation land, but both these parcels, the one on the pond and the one on the brook, keeping them as public undeveloped property is consistent with the town's open space plan and the actions that we list in there, both the old plan and the one that we're updating now, because we want to promote the protection and the enhancement of corridors along our town's waterways for both the water quality itself, for wildlife habitat and migration routes, both things that live in the water and things that live near it, and potential recreational access points or even trails, depending on the property itself. So it's a matter of principle, and that piece of property, almost without exception, where a street crosses a road, or where a street crosses a brook, the desire is for humans to develop right up to the brook. It's not good environmental policy, and we have a chance to not do that in this one place. So that's all I have to say on that.
Are the first, any board member questions to Mr. Clemens on these two parcels? Are there any other questions from the audience? Mr. Hickey?
Jim Hickey, Perry Ave. Then what about, I haven't heard anything about Lakeside Road.
The Conservation Commission has no recommendations for those properties. There is one small parcel that has frontage on the pond, but it's pretty much landlocked, or it's so small, it's like 3,000 square feet. In our humble opinions, it really doesn't lend itself to a place for public access. It might have higher value to an abutter and, therefore increase the tax base a little bit. And not that we don't care about land along Oldham Pond, because we do. I think if we had a chance to protect a large parcel that was significant, maybe prevent a couple more septic systems from being near the pond, we'd recommend that, but that's very small. And there's other parcels that are on the other side of the street on Lakeside Drive. I think there's a couple. Lakeside Road, sorry. I don't live there. It's a great little area, but we didn't have any recommendations for those.
So then does that go back to the Board of Selectmen?
To decide whether to put it.
Right, they've been gathering input from everyone.
Yeah, that'll be auctioned
If we vote for it, yes. I'm sorry, do we have a question?
No, Bruce Young just said something, I just wanted to hear what you said.
He said it would be, I'm sorry, could you stand up and answer?
Yeah, my name is Bill Kilbeck, I'm
Sorry.
the butter to Lakeside Road, I just want to hear what Bruce
Yeah,
said.
that'll go up for auction.
Thank you,
That'll
sir.
be put back on the tax rolls.
Okay, very good, thank you.
And once it goes up for auction, all the abutters will be notified to that particular property, and I'm sure everyone else will pass it around, but any one of the parcels that are going to be auctioned off, all the abutters will be notified of the date and the information for the auction. So I'm sure we have people here who are interested in those parcels, you will be notified of the auction and have an opportunity to bid.
And I should read the address. It's, so there are two parcels on Lakeside Road. One is 261, and the other one is 0 Lakeside Road. That's the address number, 0. That's what I have on my map. Okay, that's
The one across the street.
Across the street,
Yeah,
on the
it's across
pond.
the street, on the pond.
That's the one that's 3,714 square feet.
Right.
It's small.
Any questions? So, I'm sorry, could you?
Yes, I'm Bill Joyce, Lakeside Road. How many abutters are notified? Because I'm at the end of Lakeside Road, and I don't know how many abutters are notified, because I didn't even know about the meeting tonight, until I heard
She's
it
down
by
the
word
the
of
street,
mouth.
she wouldn't be in the butter.
It's so many feet.
So you're at 236, I take it, is that
I'm
correct?
at 276.
Oh, 76, I'm sorry, okay. I'm reading the map.
Right, this isn't a call, no.
How many abutters are notified?
James, I'm at 258 and I'm at 259. and
Yeah.
We're
We've
not
never been
notified.
about,
So
we've never been notified.
I just want to take that.
So this, if I may,
Wait a
Mr.
minute, notification is, go ahead.
If I may, Mr. Chairman, this meeting did not require notification of any of the abutters.
Right.
The abutters that were notified were done so out of a courtesy, thinking that, you might be interested in attending this meeting. There was no requirement to notify any abutters, whether they were 50 feet away or 500 feet away. We just reached out to people that we thought were in the area that might have an interest in this discussion.
Sir?
Yes.
But Michael, in all due respect, we're never notified, and we live right next door. So we're just not notified.
I think what Mike's trying to say is, for an auction of this nature, it's not required to notify people on it. If they were building something on it, or doing something of that nature on it, then they're required to notify people on it, you know what I'm saying? But this particular matter, what they do as a courtesy, is is when they reach out to people to see if they're interested in purchasing it.
There would be a notification process, as Mary, I believe, touched upon, when we go through the actual auction
After
process.
the auction,
No,
before the
prior
auction.
to the auction. Yes, there would be a notification. Can I say off the top of my head how many feet we go out? I don't know off the top of my head. But I think, given the interest in seeing all the people here tonight, that we will go to great lengths to make sure that we notify as many people as possible, regardless of the requirements of Mass General Law in the sense of, a tax
You
title
said you don't
settlement.
live there. Does the town have your address, your proper address to notify you guys?
The town does, and a meeting a year and a half ago, we gave complete information as to where we are and who we are.
Yeah, I remember that meeting.
Thank you, sir.
I was there.
We just want to be notified.
Yeah,
And again, regardless of the requirements of the general law,
was a
in
CPC meeting.
doing this auction, we will make sure that we reach out as far as possibly can up and down the road and along the sides of the road to make sure people are aware of what's going on.
The property will be posted.
Plus, it'll be posted. There's all sorts of rules and regs to make sure that the public is aware to the degree that we can make them aware. There'll be a sign posted, I mean, the whole 9 yards.
So, quick question, so how, I'm assuming, I've never seen any of these, an auction like this. I assume somebody shows up with the land, and somebody's there with the check, and it's published in the paper, is that how it's done?
I believe most of that, but in all honesty, in all my experience, I haven't gone through a tax title sale.
Yeah.
We have a professional that we've retained, as I've mentioned at previous meetings, that will go forward with all this, who's done sales all across southern Massachusetts. But there is quite a lengthy process, which again, is why we're retaining somebody who knows how to do this.
Okay. Somebody has a question in the back?
I'm a new resident right next to this property.
What's your name, sir? I'm sorry.
Chris Gould.
Chris Gould.
How can I ensure that I get notified? Is there any measures that I should take with the town hall?
You can, if you'd like, at this meeting, if you can jot down your address and give it to Mr. McHugh, he'll make sure that you get something, I'm sure he will. And that goes for anybody.
Is there an estimated time frame?
On the auction?
Yeah.
I think he said it's part of the,
I think we're shooting towards the spring. There's like I said, there's an incredibly lengthy process for all of this. There still needs to be some assessments made. Again, there has to be up one arm and down the other arm in terms of notifications. It's rather lengthy. So I think what we're looking for, especially after this meeting, because as far as I'm aware, this will close the issue. We will move forward with what the board decides on the two properties actually one property, because one of them we had already pulled, on the Brook Street,
Brook Street and the
Brook
two
Street
lakes.
property.
We had already pulled McQuon.
Yeah, we had
McQuon's
pulled
already sold.
McQuon. So depending upon what the board does here tonight, that will be the marching orders that I put forward to the consultant that we retained. But what I would suggest to everyone here, just to make sure we do catch up with you when all this stuff starts, if each one of you could either, jot your name and address down before you leave, or even send us an email, give us a phone call, just so that we make sure to get the information out to all interested parties, because we're more than happy to do that.
Yeah. I'd like to see something on the paper. Is there, gentlemen?
Bob Buckley, Lakeside Road. Doesn't that automatically go in the newspaper?
Oh, yeah.
That's what I thought it did, yeah.
Yes, it does, but a lot of people don't see the newspaper sometimes, so, like I said, I prefer to get the information out.
Everybody should know that it does go
Well,
in the
yeah.
paper.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bruce, did you have something to say? I thought you said something. Okay.
You got a lot of buyers for that
There's a
property.
paper going around,
That's what
add
I
your
said.
name and email address for the notification of this property. So we have, any further questions? Okay, so we have a request from the Conservation Commission to put aside the 107 Brook Street property.
It's parcel 105, map
Parcel-
105, parcel 7. The address we have is 0 Brook Street.
Yes, got zero, I'm sorry, what did I say, 107? I don't know why it's on my,
What's the total square footage on it?
hold on.
You said
right here.
1.9 acres, right?
1.9?
Yes, he
There
did.
should be a assessor's card in with your stuff. It's,
Yes, it is, here it is, it's underneath. It is, you're right, Phil, I don't know why, but on my thing it says 107 Brook Street, but it shouldn't be that way. It says map 105-53, 1.1, is that 1.1 acres? Is that correct, I think? I believe so, yes. This is the first time I've seen this type of, okay, so I would entertain a motion. I would entertain a motion to set aside this property for public land.
No move. Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. It's actually,
Is there
It
a
says-
value on this?
see how it says, see, scroll up, right here. See how it says 3 acres? It says 3 ACS, I don't know, it says originally 3 ACS.
Mr. Clemens, do you know how big this property is?
It does
Our
say,
paperwork says 3 acres, is that right?
actually, it might be 1.1 now?
The information I saw was 1.9 acres, map 105, parcel 7.
Okay.
But I
So
was
that's
probably
what-
looking at assessors map and whether it was subdivided.
Yep, no,
A
it says.
bigger one? I don't
yeah.
know.
Okay.
It's actually, On my plan, it says Plan 105, Lot 7,
that one,
and it was
Phil?
originally 3 acres,
No.
but it's down to
When
1
they, when they created the Riverbend Wind Estates, or whatever it is, they might have taken some of it, and I don't know, but
Okay.
1.9 is what I think it is.
1.9,
1.9.
1.9.
My question, is there a value? Did the assessors put a value on that property?
Yeah, the last, the preliminary 2017 assessment was for $141,700.
Okay, so I have a motion that has been made and seconded to set aside this property. Further discussion? Any other questions from anybody?
Yeah, I have a question.
Mr. Mitchell.
Mr. Cummins, so is Conservation trying to get this property conveyed over to them? Or are you here just so we don't put it up for auction? I'm just curious.
We just don't want to have it slip through the town's fingers. Whatever happens to it later is up to whatever people want to do. It's conceivable it could be conservation land, but the point is, we just don't recommend that it be sold or potentially developed. I'm not going to say, we haven't made any votes for what to do with it ourselves. We just wanted to protect it. So,
It's right along Indian Head River, right?
right, it's got 400 feet of the edge of the brook.
Right here.
So it's valuable.
I understand. All right, so I'm going to call a vote on this particular item. So motion has been made and seconded. A motion was made by Mr. Howard and seconded by Mr. Mitchell. So all those in favor of retaining this lot to the public as requested by Conservation Commission, signify by saying aye. Aye. 5-0, Mary. Okay, and because so McQuon Street has been resolved, we're not putting that up for anything, so we're good there.
That's right.
The other two properties we have are Lakeside Drive. Road, forgive me, all right, okay, Lakeside Road. Yeah, here it is, hold on. Okay, Lakeside Road, and,
Is that item 6A?
yeah, the two cards I have is Plan 79, Lot 12B is one. I'm gonna read the lot number instead.
Well, apparently, Mr. Chairman, that was inadvertent, that the Conservation Commission was not, I guess, interested in having this conversation.
Not for
With those
Lakeside.
properties, no.
Right, so we're gonna put it to vote tonight.
You had put it to vote already.
We did?
Yeah, the request of the Conservation Commission was to basically to rescind the vote that you had made, as it turns out.
I got you.
On Brook, which you have done.
So-
You've pulled it off that list. So you've already
Voted on Lakeside.
already voted on Lakeside as well as 4 or 5 other parcels.
Okay, so Lakeside is like McQuon, we've taken care of it, right?
Yeah, well, you haven't pulled it off. We're sending it to auction. McQuon, you did pull off originally. It never made it to the final cut of properties that you wanted to put out to auction. These 2 Lakeside properties were included and are currently on the list to go up to auction.
All right, cool. So then we don't need to
But we
take-
wanted to afford the opportunity to the Conservation Commission, and again, there was some information to the effect that we thought they were here to talk about Lakeside, but Phil has cleared that up, that they don't have any issues with Lakeside.
I get you.
So you've addressed their
So
his issue.
if they had an issue, we would have had to rescind our vote
Well,
and put it back, I'm
You
assuming.
could have rescinded it, or you could have kept it on.
Okay,
And as a matter of fact, if you wanted to continue to sell Brookside, you could have just done nothing and said, thank you, Mr. Chairman, however, we think it's in the best interest of the town to continue selling, so.
right.
So there is, technically, there's no action required by the board right now on those 2 properties.
On the 2 properties
Yes,
for Lakeside Road.
yes.
Gotcha, okay. All right,
Now, when you say you're gonna put, I know.
I'm sorry, ma'am,
it's
could you,
been for 3
could you,
weeks.
could you tell me your name?
Carol B. I know they asked me to paper for 3 weeks. Is it gonna be like in just the Hanson paper, or is it gonna be in the Enterprise too?
That I'd have to investigate again. It's not something the town's been through in, I think, in a good 20 years. I don't think, since you've been here, right?
Right.
So I can't address that directly. It will be at a minimum in the Express, but it's very likely that it will need to go to a publication of larger distribution. But I'm sorry, I can't answer that question right now. But if you've given us your name and your number, or you'll get the information.
I think typically they're required by law to put it in a local newspaper. It has to be
Yeah,
local.
yeah, and generally the
Probably
way we
Whitman
do.
Hanson Express, I would guess, just a guess, all right? But, yeah, Mike, we don't have that information at this time.
See, we generally only put stuff in the Express as a cost saver. However, if we're really interested, just to think about it, if we're really interested in getting a lot of interest in people bidding on this piece of property, obviously it makes sense to put it in a newspaper of wider distribution. So, but I'm not in a position right now where I can answer that, what we're gonna do with that. At a minimum, it'll be in the Express, and you will get it, and everyone will get an email or a phone call.
Okay. So, I think we've put to rest the Lakeside Road matter for both parcels, as well as the Brook Street, and of course the McQuon Street, from Conservation's
Somebody
perspective.
swept my pen, so.
Moving on to the next item.
Mary Ellen. Somebody took my pen.
We have next, under old business, the discussion and potential vote relative to the animal control services. Mike?
Yeah, and I really, we had put this on with the hope that we have a proposal before the board. I continue to work on it. I do believe that I'm gonna have something before the board at the next meeting. Suffice to say, I've reached out and I've gotten some rather positive feedback, some positive feelings on a direction that I'm gonna recommend to the board at the next meeting. We continue to have coverage through the old agreement, but I don't have everything sewn up for the board to make to take an action this evening.
Vote on, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Next I have on our agenda is the Whitman Hanson Community Access Contract Update. Mike?
And you get a broken record. I had hoped to have, and I had a conversation with the attorney who is overseeing this for us and for the Cable Access Corporation. I had a conversation with him on Friday, in which we pretty much came to agreement on the final draft, the final appearance of the contract. He was going to try to get it to me for distribution to the board this evening, but he apologized. He said he got caught up in something, and as late as I think 5 o'clock this afternoon, he was apologizing and said he will definitely get something to us for the next meeting.
So more to come on both the
Yes, yeah.
ACO and the...
Two things I had hoped to finish up tonight, but circumstances have not allowed that.
The next item we have on our agenda is the approval of the minutes. Vote to release executive session minutes.
You'll find a motion that I'd like the board to consider making. Let me explain. This is kind of unusual. We received a public information request regarding the executive session minutes going back to 2010. Well, as it so happens, many, actually, I think maybe with the exception of Dawn, none of you were sitting on the board for, several of those years that are being requested. So I have spoken to town council about the best way to go forward with that, and he has recommended the motion that should be in your packets.
Actually, it's not.
Oh, it's not?
No,
Oh, okay.
I apologize, I don't think
That's
it's in
all
there.
right.
And I can't bring it up.
All right. Basically, what I'm looking for is the board to make a motion to allow me as town administrator to review and release the appropriate executive session minutes to this particular requester. And as I mentioned, I'm doing such in conjunction with town council. What we will look at doing is releasing executive session minutes that have to do with contracts that have already been approved, some of the union contracts, some of the personnel contracts, and any legal issues that we deem have been concluded. In my cursory look at those 5 or 6 years of minutes, there still are some outstanding issues that the board or the town is grappling with, so we certainly wouldn't want to release those minutes just yet. But the statute basically reads that a town should release its executive session minutes whenever the purpose for going into executive session no longer exists. And again, especially with old contracts, those are settled in public, and there's no reason to release those sorts of minutes. And there are some legal issues in there, some legal cases that the town was involved with that have been concluded that could be released. So the motion would be to authorize the town administrator, under advice from town council, to release any and all appropriate executive session minutes from 2010 to the present.
So moved.
Motion.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded.
Did you get all that, Mary?
Mm-hmm.
So basically, this is to release executive session minutes that where we've concluded legal issues. Any outstanding or unresolved issues would still remain
Yeah, correct.
in executive session.
Was this the result of, did he say this was a result of a request from somebody?
Yeah.
Yes.
The requester.
Yep. it's
Yeah,
a-
there was an official public records request.
Yes.
Okay.
This isn't just Hanson, apparently they're doing this at
Oh,
least
all
statewide.
across the state, yeah.
Oh,
Whether it's a
just to
test
see
or
if
what.
everybody's in compliance with the
Or-
open meeting law.
No, and I've gone through one of those before.
Yeah.
That's almost like a, what do they call that?
Yeah.
Open, there's a name for it, the press does it every once in a while. This is an actual entity that has, that wants the minutes, and they're going to do something with them. It's not just a
Oh.
test. I think they call it, what, Sunshine Week,
We're
or?
gonna add it to like a website,
Wow,
so you can call it up.
Yeah.
They'll pick if there's anything that's good
that's
that
bizarre.
they deem desirable, then they'll maybe release it.
Yeah. Okay, so the motion has been made and seconded. Are there any further questions on this? All right, all those in favor to release executive session minutes as Mike has read?
Aye.
Aye, 5-0. Next item we have on our agenda is the town administrator's report.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm going to try to be very brief. Going to try. I wanted to let the board know, probably the most important thing is we received last week, or within the last week, we did have a bid opening on the Camp Kawani septic project. And unfortunately, the lowest bid came in at least $50,000-$60,000 more than we have appropriated. I think that if it had come in maybe 10,000 or so over, I probably could have made some sort of arrangements. We could have come to some sort of way to take care of that. But this obviously is far in excess of what we can afford and basically what I'm willing to try to cobble together. So I want to let the Board of Selectmen know that we're going to dismiss all those bids. Notify all the bidders. I had a meeting with the engineer just this afternoon. We are going to meet with Conservation and Board of Health, and I'm not going to say we're going to go completely back to the drawing board, but we're going to break this up into even more segments so that it doesn't necessitate anything over what we've already been appropriated. So I'm hopeful that we'll still get at least a phase of this done, because it does need to get done. But we'll get a phase of this done this spring. But again, I was disappointed with the numbers as they came in, and it's just untenable to go forward.
How many bids did you get?
Oh, seven or eight.
So, Mike, when more information comes on that, I'm sure you'll probably update the
Yes.
Recreation Commission
Was
members.
that the
Yes.
lodge?
That's for I think that's for the lodge and the.
It's for the lodge and a
And the-
bathhouse,
yes.
one of the bathhouses, yeah.
Is that because the bid was,
Yeah, actually, yeah.
Was it the
Saying
cottage?
it was that
No,
low.
no, it's the
Is that
lodge and
because
the
the-
bathhouse.
is that because the
lower
projects
bathhouse.
were combined into one?
It could be.
Actually, a lot of,
You and I discussed that
a
before.
lot of it had to do, and this was, after the fact when we looked at it and got a better understanding of what the cost drivers were that threw it over. There was always, and inappropriately, there was always an interest in disrupting the tree line and other natural aspects of the camp as little as possible. So as we made that change into another location, it drove that cost up. There were some considerations that the Conservation Commission and the Board of Health wished to see included in the plan. Some berms, some additional protections to the pond. That drove the cost up. And there were other things that, if you're interested, Selectman Young, I can send you, because
yeah.
I got a postmortem from the engineer, because obviously I was really concerned. We understood it to be one cost, but it went far in excess of what we had anticipated.
How many different septic systems are there up there? I know there's one for the lodge, right?
There's one for the lodge, there's one each for the bathhouses.
And then there's one down at the,
There's one down at the Cove.
yeah.
And I believe there may be one for the honeymoon cottage.
Yes.
So,
Gatehouse has one.
oh, and the gatehouse would have one,
Gatehouse
even though
keeper is the one I
it's
was
not
thinking of.
seeing any activity at the moment. And we were trying to get as much done as possible
Yeah.
this spring, and, we're not obviously gonna get the scale of what we were hoping to get done. It just, sometimes, I guess this happens, things come in a lot higher than we anticipated, and So like I said, we'll take a step back, we'll scale it back. Like I said, I don't really have any interest in asking for any more money this year. I want to get done what I can get done with the money we have, and we will get something done.
Obviously, the lodge is a priority. because
Yes.
it's
Yes, the lodge
it's
is the priority. And in all honesty, not to go too deep into it, but my conversation was, when we put it out again, that we break it all up into alternates. So the
good
priority would be the lodge, a second alternate would be adding in a bathhouse, the third alternate would be adding in the leaching field that we eventually are going to need, which I think you know where that is. Yeah. So we'll get something done, and then, if we have to piecemeal it through the next couple of years, we will.
Okay,
But it's moving forward.
thank you, Mike. So, a quick question on that, was it was the cottage and the lodge that we were going to try to
No.
do for a project?
No, it was the lodge and it was the bathhouse. It was
Lodge
the-
and bathhouse. Ken?
How much do we have set aside, appropriated for that?
Right now, we still have about $60,000, a little more than 60.
Okay,
Because
we're
there
off
were
about
obviously engineering
50?
costs. Huh?
You said we're off about 50?
Yeah.
Yep,
Okay.
50 to 60.
Okay.
Yeah. I wanted to report, and certainly any member of the board can continue to give me any information that they wish. I had mentioned that I was going to reach out to each of the board members to see if there was any input they wished me to receive, that they wish to give to me as I enter into the initial meetings with the various unions. I did receive some, thank you. I plan on trying to meet with all of the unions next week. I haven't figured out what days yet, but I've reached out to them, and they all seem available at some point next week. So just wanted to update the board on that, and if there's any further information that you wish to give to me, please email it to me. I will have a meeting with the schools next week to go over their budget. Let's see, what else do we have here? I wanted to let the board know that I had put up for auction the two items that they had surplused at the last meeting, the old antenna on the old police station and the ambulance/highway vehicle, and we've already received bids on those, so hopefully we'll get, again, like we have with some other pieces of equipment, we'll get a decent amount of money for those, and we'll
How
also...
about the other high speed?
I'm working on that, actually.
Just yesterday, you were taking pictures.
Yeah, well, the problem was I forgot there was a foot of snow on the ground. So I couldn't really get close to it.
A foot?
And, yeah.
Didn't they plow it?
Well, they plowed up to, they
to a
didn't
certain
completely
point.
plow it. I mean, I could get to it, but one of my problems, and one of the things I wanted to do was take pictures of the base as well, because I'm going to put it out there for auction. It's the responsibility of the buyer to actually come and remove it, because we don't have the wherewithal to remove that. I think we can probably take the antenna down off the old police station, but that I'm gonna put in as, an as-is. You've gotta come up with some way to remove it as well as, but I think in all honesty, for me to put that out to bid, I've gotta, with that clause in it, I've gotta take a picture of the base so people know what they're looking at. But yeah, I wanna move forward with that. Let's see, I talked about that already. There will be a pre-demolition meeting tomorrow at 10 o'clock to move on tearing down the old Plymouth County Hospital. I will attend that. If there's any information...
Where's that gonna be held?
It's gonna be right here at 10,
Okay.
yep.
At 10 o'clock?
10 o'clock, yes.
Did the contractor check back? Everything checked out with the contractor?
Yep.
Good, excellent.
Everything's good.
Cool.
This isn't really worth reporting on. I spoke with an old contact of mine. She actually is in charge of the Downtown Development Initiative with the Commonwealth. I'm going to have a meeting with her in the next couple of weeks in my continuing efforts to make some improvements to Main Street down towards the commuter rail station. So I'll be meeting with her. Her name is Amy Hahn. I've had dealings with her in a couple of previous communities in which I've worked. Very helpful, very knowledgeable. So I'll let the board know what comes from that particular meeting. And I also wanted to announce that I had met with the library trustees last week to assist them in moving forward with the unfortunate changes that we need to be making up at the library. They appointed Karen Stolfer currently the reference librarian as the temporary acting library director. I've discussed with them the potential rewrite of the library director job description. I believe that they will have something to give to me to present to the Board of Selectmen, hopefully at the next meeting, for them to meet as the Personnel Board and vote on those changes. And I will assist them going forward with that process in terms of posting the job, going through the interview process, as I would do with any board. So we are moving forward reluctantly and with regret as to the reasons, but we are moving forward with trying to get the library back to where it needs to be in terms of staffing. And that's all I have, sir.
Thank you, Mike. Next on our agenda are the committee reports. Ponset Pond Committee, Mr. Howard?
There hasn't been a meeting, and I thought there'd be one Thursday, but there isn't one. But I do have information here, January 3rd, 2017 at 5:13 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Silver Lake is now minus 98.30 inches, so more than 8 feet lower than it's been in years, since 1985. And there's roughly 200 feet of open shoreline around most of the lake. Some areas it's gone 300 feet. And there's a lot of dead mussels, and there's even some spotted turtles that have died. So we don't know what's gonna happen, whether Brockton's gonna clean it up or what. But if this gets filled in with water afterwards and all these dead particles are in the water, I don't know what Brockton's gonna do about it, but that's what's going on anyway.
Thank you, Tony.
It's sick, it really is.
And hopefully some of the rain over the next few months will help.
Well, they haven't been able to take any water yet because the level has not been above 52 feet. We're talking to Paul yesterday. It depends on how much rain we get today, or tonight, or tomorrow. Whether or not it'll bring it up to the level that they can take water, I don't know. But I have been going down there every couple of 3 days and looking at the culvert that goes under Route 58 from West Monpont Pond to East Monpont Pond. And you can tell just by driving down and looking, when Brockton takes water, there's a direct current there. And the ice would be all gone. It scared me yesterday when I went down there because the ice was gone, but I think it was due to the fact that it was loaded with geese and ducks moving the water, so that doesn't freeze when the birds are swimming around in the water.
Thank you, Donnie. Next on our agenda, we have the Indian Head and McQuon Priority Repair Committee.
I
Mr.
have
Young?
nothing to report, Mr. Chairman.
Other than what was done today with Mr. Hayes?
Right.
Next, we have the Highway Building Committee. Mr. Scott.
Nothing to report, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Scott. Next, we have the final Plymouth County Hospital Committee update. Mr. Howard?
That's, meeting is tomorrow afternoon at 4 o'clock upstairs in the planning board office and conservation office. Anybody that wishes to come can join us over there at 4 o'clock.
Thank you,
And it's not the final one, they keep saying that, but it's just.
That's the name of the committee. The name of the committee.
It's a continuous thing.
Yeah. I'm not crazy about the name either.
Mr. McHugh can join us tomorrow at 4. That's why we're having it still.
That's why we're having it here at the town hall. Can you join us at 4 o'clock?
Oh, actually, no, I cannot. I apologize. I have a doctor's appointment at 4 o'clock.
Oh, well.
Maybe we can give a list of questions in the morning.
Huh?
Give a list of questions tomorrow morning, so when we might have the benefit of some feedback when we do meet tomorrow.
Okay.
My hope.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll be around, well, I got a lot of meetings tomorrow, but I should be able to address anything, especially if by any chance you have them, you can send them to me this evening.
Excellent.
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded to adjourn. All those in favor, oh, discussion? No discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, 5-0. Meeting is adjourned. Good night.
Nice
Thank
job,
you.
Mr. Chairman.